Well, good morning for another episode of How You Can Win the Money Game. How's everybody doing? Do you like my music? I love it when people write me, letting me know how they love my music. Well, I know I'm not the best songwriter in the world, but I'd like to share with everybody around me. And hopefully when my album is done, I am going to be able to share that with you as well. But that's going to be a long time because I'm still at song number 3 right now, trying to mix and master song number 3. And so I have another 7 or 8 more to go. So at any rate, today we're not talking about music, but we're continuing our discussion of real estate investing. And in particular, because I brought up this topic from the very beginning of my first podcast, which is how do you actually buy right? I mean, at which price should you come into a piece of real estate, okay? Now, with the way the market is right now, and it has been for the past, I say, 4 years now, since 2013, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, holy cow, 5 years. Time flies. So for the past 5 years, when inventory has been really, really slow, very low, and there are just a lot of buyers. Where does all that money comes from? Now, I've heard that it comes from overseas, which is true because I do have a lot of friends who are from a different country, namely China, Vietnam, Russia, you name it. And somehow these people have a lot of cash. In developing country, the economy has been doing well. So people have a lot of money and they want to have a second alternative. You know, just in case if something happens, they can just fly over here to the United States and live here. So anyway, it's been 5 years since we have had this experience, this incredible scenario whereby the supply is a whole lot less than the demand. And so that puts a lot of pressure on the price, number one. Number two, as a real estate investor, how do you actually take advantage of the current market condition? Well, I don't have an easy answer for you. For me personally, this is not the right time to get into any kind of real estate at all, period, okay? But since for those who cannot wait to start to do something, especially when you're just like dying to get into any kind of real estate investing, what are you going to do? Are you going to wait it out until, 2019, 2020, 2021? I mean, we don't even know when the market is going to crash. Nobody knows. Nobody has a crystal ball to see far into the future to predict what's going to happen even next month. I mean, you know, North Korea could literally nuke us and everything is going to be like hell broke loose, okay? And everything's going to tumble. Who knows? But today, I'd like to talk to you about how I was taught to buy right. Because in real estate, you make money when you buy, not when you sell. That's what my mentor told me. And so I always remember that lesson. When you buy, and you want to write this down, when you buy, you want to buy low. Okay, so everybody knows that. You have to buy low and sell high. But guess what? Many people, because they cannot be mentally disciplined enough, and so they go in Because everybody else is going in, you see? So they buy high, and then guess what? When the market goes crazy, you know, everybody is selling, just like the way it was in 2009, 2008. Well, guess what? They panic and they sell. Well, and then they sell low, okay? So that's generally what happens. And so today I'd like to share with you the way that you buy real estate right. So when you buy it right, you're gonna make money, okay? So what is the right price? Anybody? No? All right. You want to buy, I'm gonna take this pen, I'm gonna write it down on this piece of paper, okay? And then you want to make sure that you take good notes, okay? Okay, can you see it? I guess I didn't write it right. Okay, basically what it says is 65, that's the number 6, 65% of ARV. Okay, there you go. It took me literally like 30 seconds to tell you the formula. Okay, that's it. That's all you have to know to buy it right. 65% of ARV. So 65% stands for the percentage at which you are willing to pay the seller. So let's say if the property is worth $100, the maximum that you're gonna offer the seller is $65. Yeah, that's right. You heard that right. $65, no more, no less. Okay? What about ARV? What is ARV? What does it stand for? It stands for after repairs value. ARV or ARF. ARV, ARF. So 65 ARF. You know, if you go into a real estate meetup and people keep saying, oh, you know, I buy this property at 85 ARF or, you know, whatever, that's what they're talking about. Okay? So are you clear? Yeah? You wrote that down? Okay? And so, easier said than done, because how many people you know, how many real estate investors that you know within your circle who could actually buy at 65% ARF or 65 cents on a dollar? Not very many of them. If you know of somebody who could buy at 65% ARF, that person is really, really good, because it really takes a lot of, number one, guts, because you cannot possibly sit in front of a seller and tell them, hey, this is an offer I'm giving you. Your property is worth 100. I'm going to pay you top dollars, okay? All cash, $65. So it takes a lot of gut, because, I mean, they may take a gun now and just shoot you, you know? Who knows? At any rate, where I'm getting at, I just have a good laugh, you know? I would imagine you go like, Suzanna, you must be kidding yourself. You know, how can I buy 65 cents on a dollar? You know, like I said, number one, it takes a lot of guts. Number two, it takes a lot of skill. But then again, in whatever endeavor in life that you do or pursue, it's gonna take a lot of skill for you to be the top of your game, right? And so we're talking about, hey, if you want to be the best real estate investor, you better buy at 65% off, 65 cents on a dollar. Can you do that? That's the question. Can you do it? Okay, because anybody can pick up the phone, call a real estate agent, begging them to give you off-market deals. Okay, anybody can go to a real estate meetup, try to network with wholesalers, bird dogs. Okay, so what are bird dogs? You know, I mean, it's not like a dog going after the birds. It's actually people who can go out there, look for ugly houses, and tell you about it. And then you give them a little bit of a finder's fee. Okay, and so we call them a bird dog. Wholesalers are people who find that deal, and they have the skill to buy it really low at the right price, and instead of putting in more money to improve the property and flip the property themselves, they want to flip it over to you for a small profit. Maybe they'll eat 10% of the profit, okay? And then they leave the other 25% of profit to you as a flipper, okay? So that's a wholesaler. So at any rate, number one, it takes guts. Number two, it takes a lot of negotiation skill. And number three, which in my opinion is very crucial in finding a deal like this. Number three, to get a deal like this, you're gonna need to have a really, really good team. So again, the goal that I have for you is to share with you how to become the best real estate investor. You buy it right, you make good money, meaningful money, and at the same time you enjoy what you do, okay? That's the difference between me versus everybody else out there. Because number one, I do not charge you for any kind of coaching like this. You know, I'm sharing my knowledge with you, and I do want you to be successful as a real estate investor. But in order for you to be successful, you have to work at it day in, day out, day in, day out. You got to improve your skill. You have to up your game, and you got to commit. You know, be committed to your success. All right. So three things: you need to have gut, okay? Because when you make an offer that low to a seller, how do you present it makes a whole difference in the world. Okay, you go, oh, Mr. Seller, yeah, I have this like offer. You know, you see it? Do you like it? Yeah, do you like it? As opposed to, Mr. Seller, I have done my research and my calculations, and this is what I have for you, the best offer. And let me explain to you why you should take this offer. And then you lay out, okay, number one, number two, number three reasons why your offer is the best offer that he or she has on the table at this time, given his or her circumstance, you see? So that's the key word, okay? To be a really successful real estate investor, you are not just buying a property. You are solving the seller's problem. Hello? Nobody is gonna pay you top dollars if you're not giving something of good value to them, right? And we're talking about 35% profit on this deal. Why would anybody in their right mind would give you or would give away money to you if they don't see what you're doing is of value to them? You get what I'm saying? All right. And so posture is everything. Okay. And especially for those engineers, and I have to like take engineers as an example again, because I live right here in the Silicon Valley, and a lot of engineers want to become real estate investors. Not just engineers, but the majority of the people in the Silicon Valley are engineers, and so they want to kind of have something on the side to do, you know, to build up their portfolio, because it's kind of boring at their job, whatever the reason, okay? So as an engineer, do you have that posture to project your image to the seller to begin with, right? So number one, it takes a lot of guts. I mean, do you have that gutsiness in you to begin with? Because if you don't, then there's no way you're gonna hit this profit margin, okay? That means you're gonna have to work on yourself before you can see this kind of deal. Now, if you know anybody who doesn't have that posture and somehow they could make 35% flipping properties, let me know, because I would love to learn from that person. Like I said, I am a learner. I'm a lifelong learner. There isn't any day where I do not learn anything. I learn from my children. I learn from other people around me. I learn from the internet. I learn from books. I learn a lot from books. So for those of you who don't like to read books, you're going to be at a disadvantage, because there is just so much to learn from reading books. So at any rate, number one, let me repeat that. Number one, it takes guts, okay? And guts could be your posture, your nonverbal communication, you know, your cues, the way you look at the seller, you know, are you looking at him or her with certainty? Or you're kind of like, oh, I'm not sure, Mrs. Seller, I'm giving you this offer now at 65%. I'm not sure that you're gonna take it, right? You don't want to be like that. You want to be like, yeah, you have a problem, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, and I'm bringing a solution to you, and this is why you should take my solution. Okay, so that's the kind of posture you want to come across.